This morning we're going to pressure can some tomatoes. Right now I'm just waiting for my water to stop boiling so I can drop the tomatoes in for about 60 seconds so that the peels will come off easily. I put an X on the end of the tomatoes so it'll make it easier to peel. I have my jars getting warm in there. I have a bowl here. This is where they'll come after they come out of the boiling water. Directions say to put them in cold water to stop the cooking process, but I don't really care because I'm going to be cooking them anyway, so I don't know. I think that's unnecessary, so I'm not going to do it. I'll just drop them in here, though, so I have somewhere to put them. Then I will come up, take them back here, chop them up, put them back there, and then this is where I'll can them out of. I have the 3 quarts of water in my canner that are getting hot. I'll leave the lid on until I'm ready to put the jars in there. 3 quarts is 12 cups, so we got that in there. And otherwise everything is just set up ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and wait for this water to start boiling so I could pop the tomatoes in there. Alright, since I've gotten so many tomatoes, I do not think I'm going to be able to do all these today. First of all, I don't think they'll fit in the canner. And second of all, I don't think I'm going to have enough time before I start working. So what I'm going to do is, my hands are really clean, is I'm going to pack these chopped tomatoes into the jar, as much as I can get. And I turn my electric kettle on to get some water boiling. We're doing the raw pack method. That's where the tomatoes are not pre-cooked. All I did was drop them in a pot of boiling water for 60 seconds in order to loosen the skin so that I can cut them. This is what they look like when they come out. And as you can see, the skin just peels right off. But I didn't have enough room in my bowl, so I'm going to go ahead and just leave those there. Alright, so might be able to fit another one. It's 1-inch headspace also for tomatoes. Before I go ahead and add the boiling water, I'm going to add some canning salt. You don't want to use table salt, iodized salt, or anything like that. Just canning salt, super cheap, you can buy it anywhere. It says a full teaspoon for quarts, but I feel like that's too much, so I'm just going to use a half a teaspoon. And then it looks like my electric kettle is done, so I'm just going to go ahead and pour it into 1-inch headspace, which is the bottom rim of the jar. And I'll use my tool to take the bubbles out. I don't know if you can see them bubbles coming up. So it's so important to do this. And I don't care, these are going to get broken down in the canning process, so I don't care if I stab them. I would rather make sure all the bubbles are out. And it doesn't look like I can add any more. Sometimes when you remove the bubbles, you can add either more liquid or more of whatever you're canning, but it doesn't look like I can. Yep, let's add a 1-inch headspace. Aside, and then a paper towel. Wipe the rim real good. And then I got some lids over here. Getting more. The lid on. Ring, grip up tight. These are a little warm, so I'm going to go ahead and drop it in the canner. Get another jar. I'll do the same thing. Add the tomatoes. Oops, man down. That's fine. Everything has been totally sanitized. I am very weird about germs, so I cleaned everything very well. And you can smush these guys down because they're gonna cook down in the canning process, and you have, you know, less than you put in there. That's good. Canning salt. Take my electric kettle over here. Bubble tool. See, I don't know if you can even see those air bubbles coming up to the surface, but it's really important that you do this when you're canning solid food like this. Tomatoes will process for only 10 minutes, even the quart size. The quart and the pint size both process at the same time. And so this is a quick. This one has a quick canning process. That's why I wanted to do it before I logged on for work. But considering I didn't realize how long this prep was going to take, I might not be able to do as much as I wanted because I have to start working in half an hour. Oh well. I'll do my best. Ring or lid. Off camera, I have a bowl that has my skins and cores. That is what's going to go into my compost bucket. So they're just sitting there for now. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and finish up the canning of the rest of these jars. I couldn't fit all the tomatoes in here, so once this is low enough, I'll cut these up and put these in here. This is all I might do today. Because, like I said, I have to start work in a half an hour. I don't want to be late, even though, you know, it happens. But, yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get that done, and I will come back when I'm getting them in the can. So I got a full canner load, 7 quart jars that I'm going to go ahead and process. There's still more tomatoes. First of all, I don't have enough room in the canner. I don't have enough time. I did have to tell my boss, oops, I underestimated how much time this would take, so I will be on when I'm done. But they process for only 10 minutes, although I still have to wait for it to get up to temperature and vent the steam for 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on, crank it up, and get it venting. So this is how many tomatoes I have left. I did use a good chunk of them, but there's still quite a few left. What I'll probably end up doing is another canner's load after I get off of work. It should give me at least a couple jars, enough to make running the canner worth it. But yeah, I did put a good dent in these, and I got 7 quarts. I'm so excited. So I'll bring y'all back when the canner is done and I'm getting ready to pull these babies out. So the timer went off, they are done processing, it got down to 0 pressure, the safety valve dropped, and I waited that additional 2 minutes that Ball recommends. So now they are ready to sit for 10 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and start the timer here. And then after the 10 minutes is up, I will go ahead and pull these out and we'll take a look at how good they look. But just from what I can see and the smell, oh my gosh, they look amazing. And they smell delicious. So I am super excited about this. But I'll bring you back when we go take these babies out. So I pulled all the tomatoes out. As you can see, there's like room in the jar. I thought I smushed them things pretty good. And it looks like there is a little bit of liquid loss. But as they settle down, I'm going to cover them with the hand towel, like I have been doing. So I guess we'll see how they turn out. I mean, it's still tomatoes that I can use, but I'm kind of bummed that there's so much space. I mean, I really shoved them in there. Some are a lot worse than others. I'm kind of disappointed in that. But, you know, they're still useful. I'll still be able to use them. And I still will use them, but maybe when I go ahead and do the group or do what I'm going to do later, I will keep this in mind and really shove them in there. Because, yeah, that's a little bit disappointing. But at any rate, I still have 7 quarts of tomatoes that I can use for, you know, any recipe that calls for, you know, can of tomatoes. So, at any rate, I hope you enjoyed, and we will probably be doing green beans tomorrow, so hopefully I'll get that video up in the next couple days. But I hope you all have a great Monday, and we will see you next time.